that important. There's a lady out there is one of the greatest actresses to me in the world, and her name is Kim Stanley. And to me, she is teaching here in Hollywood now.
Yes. In Hollywood?
In Hollywood.
I knew she was someplace in the Middle West for a while.
No, she's here. She's back. She's here.
Interesting.
And she's teaching, and she, to me, is one of the greatest American actresses. Her and
Yes,
Julie
she
Harris.
is.
I
Yes.
just, I adore these people, and she doesn't care about money. Money's not that important. It's just that work, their love, and that's what I find about you too. And all the great stars of that era, really, they just keep working, and because they have that certain thing within themselves. Kim Stanley was, I just adore her.
Absolutely wonderful.
The thing with Jessica Lange.
Yeah, she did.
Farmer,
Yeah, Frances Farmer.
Right.
Yes, that's their last movie. Yeah,
marvelous.
Yeah, The Goddess was great. Which, she did. Yeah, right. But Vivian, so you are right now. What's your plans right now for the future? So busy.
Well, right now it's Christmas time, and there's nothing else to think about.
You can spend Christmas here in Hollywood? You live in the Valley, huh?
Yes.
Yes?
Van Nuys.
Van Nuys. You're a Valley lady.
Yes, I'm a Valley lady, loving it.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Do people in the Valley talk different like they say they do?
I should say not.
They don't?
No.
Well, you're not a Valley lady. You're a whirly lady. John, you live in Hollywood, huh?
Yes, I do, in the house.
It's a lovely home.
Yes. Don, I met John through a lovely lady by the name of Judy Canova, who just passed away.
I know.
She was a dear friend of both of ours.
Oh, really? You know Judy?
Very, very close.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And Judy, I just adored her. She was my bingo partner, and we used to go every Tuesday night to play bingo.
My mother, too?
Yes, your mother.
Yeah.
Yes, that's how I met you.
Yeah.
And I adored bingo.
We miss her a lot.
And Judy and I used to go, and she was a wonderful lady. Yeah. Did you go to her service?
Yes.
Yeah, you were there, Don. You were there.
Oh, absolutely.
I see.
Matter of fact, Judy and myself and Vivian and Stuart, her husband, used to go out in a foursome, and we had the best laughs.
Yeah.
But Don, I want to ask you something. This is very important to me.
Yeah.
Why in the East Coast they gave Judy Canova a big write-ups, all of the papers,
They did
and here,
Oh, they did?
I didn't do it here. Don, they just gave her
What
very
they did,
little
no,
in West
what they
Coast.
did is
Why?
they jumped the gun because Judy died on Friday, August 5th.
That's
and
right,
all the
the
big
weekends.
stories.
You don't die on weekends, is that it?
Unfortunately, it's sad.
Oh, dear Lord.
Ridiculous.
I mean, if we knew how to do this, we could time it better. But I mean, not to be funny, but
Yes.
she died on Friday at 3:30 or 2:30. I'm sorry, and the biggest stories hit the next day on Saturday.
Right.
But Saturday, for some reason, in this town,
People don't read papers.
It's not a paper buying day, I suppose.
Yes.
You know, Sunday is, and Monday was already history. You know.
She was #1 comedian, a woman comedian, I think. She was.
And you know, the
brilliant.
funny thing is, like, I think back talking about Judy now, may she rest in peace. We'd be out at a function or a party or an awards dinner, and a fan would come rushing up to her and say, "I don't want this to sound funny, but I thought you were dead. And I'm so glad you're not." And they always confused her for some reason with Cass Daly.
Yeah, they do, yes.
Do you remember
Yes,
Cass
they do,
Daly?
yeah.
Well, actually, a number of years ago, there was an item in the paper saying that she had passed away. So lo and behold, we were out here, and we were at some kind of a function, and I turned around, and there is, well, all of a sudden now I'm meeting Judy Canova, and I tell you something, Mike, I just flipped over, and I thank God I had the presence of mind not to say it. But it was quite an experience.
But you'd be amazed how many times we were out and how many people did. I mean, they would think nothing of it and then realize what they said after they said it.
Yes,
see.
yes.
But they did confuse her a great deal with Cass Daly.
That's true.
Vivian,
Yes.
tell me, do you find, naturally, I'm going to ask a stupid question, but Hollywood has changed a lot in your days. I mean, the system, the people,
Well, the people.
the boulevard, naturally. I mean, forget the boulevard.
It's changed a lot. But to me, there's no glamour.
There is no glamour.
There really isn't.
Not in Hollywood.
No, not anymore. It's a shame.
Sad.
It's a
They
shame.
should just clean up Hollywood Boulevard and just, because the tourists come here and they see this, and this is...
I know. I remember the first time I saw Hollywood and Vine. When I made my screen test in New York and signed the contract in New York and then came out here with my mother. And the first time I saw Hollywood and Vine, I thought to myself, Mamma mia. I don't know what I expected. Streets paved with gold. I expected to see all of the stars walking around in the white suits.
That's what everybody expects.
Everything. And it's just, even then it was a mess.
Yeah.
And that was 100 years ago.
Yes. John, do you,
But
you,
it's
what do
really
you think? You
something
find
now.
it...
Well, I'll tell you what really tears me apart are seeing the changes. and not being able to preserve what little that's left.
Yeah.
For instance, I think Vivian and Stuart are very, very aware of this. About, what was it, about 3 years ago with the Brown Derby? We fought tooth and nail. She was running around signing petitions, and Stuart was getting names, and I was getting, and people were just making phone calls like crazy. They were going to build, what was it, a high-rise or something on that corner. The original Brown Derby.
On
was
Wilshire
shaped like
Boulevard.
that.
Right,
Exactly.
of course.
Right across from the Ambassador.
Right.
Well, as it turns out, here we are 3 years or 3.5 years later.
Still not there.
The Derby part is still left, but the whole beautiful restaurant that made history in Hollywood is gone, and there's no high-rise there.
Yes, 3 years after.
Why? Isn't that stupid?
Isn't there somebody? And then the other day, I went to this auction at Schwab's, and people are standing there crying tears who've been going there for 50 years.
Yes.
Edith Fellows, to be named one. All kinds of, every familiar character face you've ever seen, standing there crying tears, because there was no way to save something that should have been designated a landmark.
Why did they close Schwab's down? You should know.
It was some kind of a
family
family problem, and one
that's-
of the brothers died, and there's different stories floating around, but
But they're going to put a big building up there. That's what I heard.
this is what they say. But then the same thing happened 3 years ago as well
the Derby.
on Hollywood Boulevard with a place that was called Peyton Hall. If you knew the stars who lived there over the years. 3 years later, it's still a vacant lot. You know, there's not much left. Let's keep what little bit we have left.
Wouldn't that be marvelous?
True, yes. Vivian, where do people buy this album now? Is it out? Is it out right now? I'd like
Yes, it has just come out, about a month late, but...
A month late?
It's worth
I want to
waiting
get
for, I
one.
hope. In Chicago, the Rose Records. In New York, Doubleday, J&R Music World, Tower Records, Colony Records.
Tower.
And out here, in San Francisco, I'm sorry, Tower Records and Record House. And out here, in L.A., it's Tower Records and Aaron Records.
Okay, fine. I want on Tower Records and on the Strip out here.
It's the most marvelous
And
picture.
please,
Yeah, isn't it a great
please,
picture?
for God's sake,
let's
tell your friends.
buy
tell your
this
friends.
album, please. We need it for
AIDS.
all the money's going to AIDS. Please buy this album. This is a beautiful picture of Miss Vivian Blaine and wonderful songs by Miss Vivian Blaine. All her beautiful songs. Beautiful
Thank
picture.
you.
Who did the picture, Vivian?
Funnily
Lovely.
enough, done by a priest.
Really? By a priest?
Absolutely. He,
Isn't that amazing?
yeah, he's a wonderful, he's a very young man, he's 33. And well, I won't go into it, but this is the second photographer that I went to, because the first one that we went to wanted to be paid.
Yes.
And of course, this was all done, the record, everything, everybody connected with it did it for nothing.
Oh, great. That's great.
So, with the
They all
exception of the
donated.
musicians, as
Yes,
is always
naturally.
the case, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, we came upon this man, and whatever he's won awards for his photography, and whatever pardon me, whatever monies he derives go into his church. So I mean, it's not
that's beautiful.
It's not a
Vivian, I really want to thank you.
A great pleasure.
And believe me, all that money, ladies and gentlemen out there, buy Miss Vivian Blaine's album.
Thank
and help
you.
the AIDS. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Vivian.
Happy holidays.
John, thank you, darling.
Thank you for
John,
having me.
thank you for
Enjoyed
coming
it
on.
very much.
I really, I'm looking better at National Enquirer.
You
You brought
should.
it out.
You should.
You look-
We're there for a reason.
Yes.
To entertain and
You
to
brought it
help
out,
our-
John.
Expose
Thank
our
you.
friends like
Yes, thank you very
Miss
much for
Blaine,
coming,
you know, and
okay?
give them publicity.
Ladies and
Very
gentlemen,
good to me.
Thank you.
I want to say, be kind to others. This is Skippy Lowe from Hollywood. Thank you. Thank you. Just sit here, the flags are rolling. Thank you. That was good. I'm glad you read all those names out there.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Skip E. Lowe Looks at Hollywood. Tonight, from the famous landmark hotel, the Hollywood Roosevelt in downtown Hollywood, Our special guest is Mr. David Carradine. And now, here's your host, Hollywood's one-of-a-kind, Skip E. Lowe.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the beautiful Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. We are here in the lobby, and right across is that beautiful garden room where the first Academy Awards were held. Do you imagine? 1929. My special guest this evening here, I'm very honored to have Mr. David Carradine. Hello, David. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Nice. Hey, we have a big audience out there, don't we? This is the hotel of Hollywood Roosevelt. You've been here. I bet you remember this when you were a kid.
Yeah, I do.
You do?
I remember it real well. Yeah.
Really? Your dad took you here when you were a child?
Sure.
Yeah, you grew up here in Hollywood, didn't you?
Yeah, mostly actually in North Hollywood.
North? Uh-huh.
But we went to church in Hollywood, and we had brunch on Sunset Boulevard,
Uh-huh.
and sort of thing.
You see the big change here in Hollywood? I mean, like...
Yeah, I guess it's changed. It's always been a strange and volatile place.
Right.
Uh-huh.
But this beautiful Roosevelt Hotel is there a big difference here? You see all these pictures around the ceiling. What do you think, David?
I love these pictures. I used to sit and look at these pictures. I still do.
Uh-huh. There's Marlon Brando over there, right?
You caught me doing that a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, you were here. That's where I asked you if you would come on my show. That's very nice of you to have him here. Tell me, David, you just got back filming Americana, or you just was...
Well, we're just starting into the distribution.
Oh, I see.
Thing is, we filmed it. It's been a long-term project, years really. It's not a regular movie time, the way they make movies.
You were in Kansas?
Kansas, yeah,
Kansas.
Missouri, Kansas.
Small town.
Southeast corner on the Chisholm Trail.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And I understand you're directing and producing this film?
Yeah.
And starring?
Yeah.
Who else is in the movie?
Barbara Hershey.
Ah, how can I forget?
And,
Barbara Hershey.
A few people from Kansas.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. And I understand you're using the real people in Kansas. So.
Yeah. And Michael Green plays the villain. He's a guy from Hollywood. There were a lot of Hollywood actors salted in among the Kansas people.
Uh-huh. Do you find Kansas a good state? A real American?
Yeah, well, it's right in the center, geographic center
Right.
of the country, and
Right.
that's where like the Wizard of Oz happens there, and the whole Dust Bowl is certainly Kansas. There are not very many small farmers left in Kansas. It's all great big fields.
Right. You know, there's a picture years ago that your dad did, was one of my favorites. You're talking about farmers. The Grapes of Wrath, which is one of the greatest classics of all times. And that was, where was that filmed? Do you remember?
Oh, well, most I think in Malibu. And,
Oh, really? In
yeah.
California? I didn't know
And
that.
on the back lot of what is now Century City.
Uh-huh. But your father was just a great. He was a dirt farmer in that film. And Henry Fonda. Did you ever meet Henry Fonda?
Yeah.
That's a great family.
Yeah.
When I think of Henry Fonda, I think of the Carradines. And
Yeah. I met Henry Fonda at the Tony Awards once in New York, and he was the most tense person, and he had more elegance than anybody else in the room, and he was extremely embarrassed about wearing this old tuxedo that he had, which was just fabulous.
Uh-huh.
And he was such a gentleman. He was like a judge. He was terribly embarrassed about appearing in front of the...
Did you ever do a movie with Jane?
No,
No.
never had.
I thought that would be a good combination, you and Jane together.
Yeah.
I think you're both magic there. I really do. And you have a brother, Keith. Also, Keith is... I saw a movie with, matter of fact, Keith and your other brother is... it's Robert? Is it Robert? Robert? Yeah, he did a movie called... It was a Western on TV. I think it was... what was it called? I don't know.
The bunch of us together?
Yeah.
The Long Riders.
The Long Riders. Right. When was that film?
Right. 78, 79.
Yeah, that was a great film. Really,
Yeah.
all the family, the whole family. Stacey Kate was Stacey Kate?
Yes.
Keaton.
Stacy and Jim, Keach and Randy and Dennis McQuaid
Uh-huh.
and Christopher Brothers. God, Chris, and, oh, forgive me.
That's right.
And a couple other guys that made up the gang.
Uh-huh.
Well, you know, it wasn't just the sets of brothers. It was there was kind of a whole brotherhood.
Uh-huh.
That because if you naturally, I mean, we got confused about whose brother was whose.
Mm-hmm. Is this the first time all your brothers together in the film?
The three of us?
Yeah, the three of you.
In a way, no.
You did another one, did you?
Well, I have done movies with Bobby, and Keith and Bobby appeared in a picture together.
Mm-hmm.
And with Mike, who's the youngest of what I call my brothers. I can't.
How many brothers do you have?
And stuff and everything is about 9.
How many?
9 of us.
9?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
9 brothers.
that's what it is.
God, your father has any other hobbies?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, sailing and gardening
Uh-huh.
and sculpting.
Yeah, he's a great, great artist, your father. He did about 200 films, did he, at least?
No, almost 500.
500?
Yeah.
Good God. 500 movies.
Yeah, and a whole bunch of TV and plays.
A great actor. Oh.
Yeah.
But tell me about getting back to Americana. What kind of film is that about?
Well, it's about a returning veteran. It's set in 1973.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I don't know, it's an alternative to the guy going around with an automatic rifle,
Mm-hmm.
you know. It tries to really get inside these people, you know.
Mm-hmm.
There's a movie about how he doesn't blow it, you know, he doesn't,
Uh-huh.
He gets it together.
I see. And Barbara Hershey, she's in the film. Is that-
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me if...
And it's a comedy, really.
It is a comedy.
Well, really it is, yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah, I mean, it's a million laughs up to a certain point.
I see. Mm-hmm. Barbara Hershey, you used to go with her, didn't you?
Yeah,
You have a child.
that's true, yeah.
Right. How old is your child?
11.
11 years old? A boy?
Yeah.
11?
Yeah.
Really? Is he getting in the business too?
No,
Yeah.
no. he's-
David, would you please tell me, I want to know, your father's such a great actor and you've been in the business all your life. How did did your father push you into it, or did you make up your mind, or what?
No, I used to travel with him on summer stock engagements, and I saw him maybe, 85 times
Uh-huh.
playing roles on Broadway and things like that.
He's actually a theater actor, was he? That's what he really...
Well, that's what he liked to do the best.
Theater, that voice, that resonant voice, that
Yeah.
really, the ~kærədiːn voice, that's really... You have that. You have
No.
that, David.
Yeah, I try to hide it.
You do have it.
Yeah.
And do you do theater?
Yeah, it's hard to fit it in, but yes, I do.
Yes?
A little bit. I'm going to be doing, next thing I've got lined up is a play called Black Elk Speaks,
Oh, really?
which I'm going to do in this big Indian theater in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and then we're going to the Black Hills. We have to wait until the weather gets all right.
That's a great place to go.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, Tulsa. Who would ever think... People would think of Broadway or Boston,
Well,
but
yeah,
you're
but
thinking of
this
Tulsa.
it's a there's a very realistic play about the whole Indian revolution, the whole historical event, as seen through the eyes of this one medicine man who lived through it all and then told the story. And then when we get to the Black Hills, they're going to shoot it for PBS
Uh-huh.
with just the hills, you know.
That's great. Tell me about Kung Fu. You were there 4 years? 4 years?
Yeah,
Was that series
something
4?
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy doing that?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Tell me about karate. Did you study karate before you got into that?
Karate,
or-
no kung fu.
Kung Fu? No Kung Fu?
Yeah. Kung fu is what I studied.
Kung Fu, yes.
It's I have studied some karate.
Uh-huh.
I studied a lot of different styles
Uh-huh.
of kung fu, just a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and I had primarily 2 teachers, and I really count myself as having 1 teacher.
Mm-hmm. I see in this picture right here, just, is this from the Americana? Or what is this?
No, that's from Lone Wolf McQuade.
Long West, may I show this?
That's Chuck Norris there.
Chuck Norris?
Yeah.
It's great.
Chuck was great. He was a lot of
Yeah.
fun. That fight was more fun than
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
In
great.
a long time.
This one I love. This is a beautiful picture of you, David. This is from your new movie, The Americana. This is beautiful.
Americana.
Americana. It's a
That's
gorgeous
in the-
picture of you.
wolf pit there. I was resting in between bouts, so to speak, with the wolves.
It's a beautiful picture. And this is also from Americana. I really like this one. This is great.
Yeah.
Your beard's great in this. You look great with a beard. Yeah, and that's great.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful
Well,
picture.
it just does that. It just grows.
It grows, huh?
Thanks it all.
That's a beautiful picture. You have a record, I understand, huh? This
Yeah.
record, Troublemaker, and this
Yeah.
Gail Jensen.
Gail
she's-
Jensen, yeah,
she's-
she wrote the song.
I played it before I came here. It's
Yeah.
great. I love it.
And we sing them together.
Uh-huh. She wrote it or did?
Yeah, she gives me a little credit, on one of the songs.
I think it's great.
She and Michael.
Uh-huh. When is this? Is this out now?
Yeah,
It is it?
It is in that form. It's in all the radio stations, playing all over the country.
Oh, really? David Carradine and Gail Jensen. Wow. Troublemaker, and the other side is I Made a Promise. I like that too. That's a good one, David. I didn't know
Yeah.
you sing and play guitar, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I have a showcase right across there in the garden room, Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays.
Yeah, I caught it once.
Yeah.
I think that's when we met.
Yeah, that's right. It's kind of interesting. I have a lot of good talent coming around. Matter of fact, we're going to have someone very soon. But anyway, getting back, David, your father just fascinates me. He just keeps on working all the time. He never gives up.
No, well, he never will give up. I think he'd like to die on the stage, probably.
Yes.
Really.
What's his
seriously.
secret? What's his secret?
I don't think he would tell you that he didn't have a secret, I think. He's just, I guess he has a system. Everybody has to operate on something. But he has a foolproof view of the universe, so to speak.
Your brother, I think it was Keith, he made he did a wonderful song called It's Easy. I think it was Easy. Wasn't that?
I'm easy.
I'm Easy. It was an
I'm
Academy
easy.
Award. How does it go?
I'm easy. Or take my hand and pull me down. I won't put up any
That's
fight.
it. That was an
'Cause
Academy
I'm
Award winner,
easy.
wasn't it?
Yeah. I fell off the couch when I was watching television, and they said, Keith Carradine.
Keith, that's right, Keith. That's
I
great.
really did.
Nashville. That was in the movie Nashville. Was it?
Yeah, Nashville.
Nashville. Yeah, that was a great movie. I love that movie. And also I understand Fall Guy. They're writing a special thing for you.
Yeah, we did it.
Fall
We
Guy.
did it.
Oh, you did it already?
Just this last week, yeah.
They wrote a special thing for you. Huh?
And
Fall Guy.
we got to do another day. Monday, I'm going to do one more day.
When's that coming up?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, you
I
don't?
just make them.
You just make them?
But it's great. I had a more fun I've had in a long time, and I
Uh-huh.
actually did some kind of heavier acting than I hadn't tried before. A couple of things. So it was really something.
I see. You only have one child, David?
No, I have 3 children.
You do?
Yeah.
You have been married before or after Barbara? I mean, you were living with Barbara
Yeah.
officially, right?
And my first wife was Donna Beck,
Donna Beck.
who was became Donna Carradine for a while, and she was a dancer and a choreographer, still is. And then there was Barbara. I had a child by her. I had a daughter by my first wife, and a son with Barbara, and then a daughter with my second wife, Linda Gilbert.
I see. You did a movie, or you're going to do a Dark Planet from Argentina, or did you do
Caine
that?
of Dark Planet.
What is it?
Caine
Caine
of Dark Planet.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was filmed in Argentina?
Yeah.
I see. Did you do it already, huh?
Yeah, I did it. I did it in Argentina's fall, which would be our spring and early summer. And that's a sort of a mystic. Well, it's a sword fighting picture which takes place on another planet. So I fight a lot of lizards. And it's what the story is there's these 2 families, so to speak, that control this well in the middle of the desert, and they control it militarily. You know, it's hard to get a drink of water. And I come out of the desert and I'm really thirsty. I want a drink of water, and they won't give me a drink of water. So we get into a lot of sword fights over it.
Did you find the people in Argentina a little different than the Americans? You've traveled all over the world, I'm sure.
Well, sure, in some kind of ways. You know, there are really a lot of vital differences.
Right.
Like the fact that there's no oral due process in Argentina. You don't have recourse to a public trial. And so people, well, it's kind of a strange life to lead. You never know what's going to happen to you.
David, this is your first movie you've directed and produced, Americana?
It's the first one out. Yeah, I've been working on more than one movie.
Yeah, I think you're ready for more than just one. You're ready to do a lot, because I can just feel.
Yeah, well, you got to churn it out, you know. You got to keep working.
Yes, but you did you just did a TV movie with Angie Dickinson. Yeah. Yeah. When's that? That's out already, or?
Oh, I don't think so. I think I'd hear about it.
Oh, okay. When is it coming out?
This season sometime, I imagine. That's a 2-hour movie that has about jealousy. It's all
jealousy.
About jealousy.
Right. Yeah. She's a great woman to work with, is she?
Yeah, she's a great pro.
Yes, she does.
She's really good person. A lot of fun.
David, what was your first film you ever did?
First film I ever did, first feature.
Feature, right.
Would be Bus Riley's Back in Town.
Yeah, I remember that. Bus Riley's Back in Town. That was with, who was that in?
That was with Michael Parks and that girl that plays Vegas so much. Beautiful hair. Anne Margaret.
Anne Margaret, right.
And I did one day in the picture. I was a friend of Michael Parks who sits in a soda fountain with him. And they put on a record, which was I Want to Hold Your Hand. The Beatles singing I Want to Hold Your Hand, which tells you the year of the thing. And all these girls were dancing. That's the first time I'd ever seen anything like that. I just sat there all day and watched that happen. And that was my involvement in the movie.
Did you ever do a musical?
Well, if you don't count Bound for Glory, me and Bobby have been putting together this country musical.
That's what I was waiting. That's what I wanted.
Which is...
You'd be ideal for it. Country and Western.
Yeah. Well, it's not what you think. You know, it's sort of about a guy that lives in a chicken coop and writes songs. And then there's a kid. Bobby's a kid who he talks to. They talk about things. And meanwhile, the Second World War starts.
That sounds great.
Yeah,
I think,
but it's a musical.
It's a musical, yeah. Sounds good. You'd be great in a country western musical.
Yeah.
You know, you play guitar and you sing.
Yeah. Well,
you dance?
It'll probably come along.
You
Oh, yeah.
You
I'm
do
a great
dance?
dancer.
Yes.
That's how do you think I got into this kung fu thing?
That's right.
It's dancing.
Dancing.
Well, if that isn't dancing, I don't know what is.
Yeah, you're right. But anyway, you're going to Europe now. You're leaving for Europe, I understand?
London.
You're
If you
going to
make
London?
a difference there.
Yeah, it's London. I don't like London. I've been there many times.
Really?
I don't like that.
Oh, I love London.
You do, London?
I just have always had a good time here.
I interviewed Aldo Ray about a month ago, and he loves London also. He said, yeah, I just don't. I find it dreary, and people are nice, but I just find it a dreary.
Yeah, but you got to keep moving.
Yeah, those private clubs there. How long are you going to be in London?
Working there, though. It's
You'll be
a
working?
different thing. I'll be working.
Yeah, so you'll be busy.
And I'll hardly be able to get around fast enough.
I went to school there at RADA, the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts. In
You
the
did?
Yeah, in the 60s. I was there when John F. Kennedy was assassinated. I was there. I was working at a club called the Blue Angel with Noel Harrison. And he was the compere of the show, played guitar and sang. That's my only experience of England, from in the 60s. I'm sure it's changed by now. But,
well, it'll always be the same,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
The Brits will never change. They're always, even though they've lost their empire, they've retained their nature.
If you would have to pick out your own films, what would you like to do? What parts would you really like to do? If you really had to do your own?
Well,
I'm sure you're doing it now, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to go in my fumbling way in a cogent direction, right? I mean, I'm trying to do something, but it is kind of a morass. I mean, it's a maze that I'm wandering through all the time, you know, But I like this record, you know, and we're gonna do an album.
It's going to be an album?
Sure, maybe we'll go on the road.
No, you'd be great on the road. I think the people out there would love you on the road. And with Gail Jensen especially, she's beautiful and blonde.
Yeah, if we were together, I think I could pull it off.
Yeah, she's very talented. That voice, I really like this record. I played it this afternoon. It sounded very good. But tell me, there is something about your brother, Keith, is it? Does he ever? He sings, but does he ever go on the road and work and live, or?
Well, there was a period in his career when he did that after he won the Academy Award, and he did 2 albums, and he went on the road with them, and then he got interested in other things. He really, you know, movies are important to him. He did a Broadway play.
Oh, he did. I didn't know that. Which one was that?
It was called Foxfire.
When was that?